All right, everybody, welcome in. Jump to Start Racing podcast. My name is Wellington. I'm here with two of my closest friends
For today.
Happy holidays. Ruben, how you doing today?
I'm doing good today. Nice weekend.
Just today.
Yesterday.
Yancy, how are you?
Pew, pew. I'm doing good.
The guys are making fun of me. Okay. Yeah, make sure to check us out on YouTube.
What's it like, guys?
Guys, before we get started, I want to make sure to mention our socials. We are at Jump to Start F1 on Instagram and Twitter. Jump to Start Racing Podcast on YouTube and Jump to Start Racing Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio.
He's stumbling on the last day.
The last day, bro. He's been doing good all season. And the last day, it's just...
Why?
You know how it is. Ruben, how was your weekend, brother?
It was nice, chill, cold, home, couch potato.
It's New York, bro.
Yeah.
It's getting cold.
Yeah.
There was no race this weekend, so couch potato.
Oh, yeah. It's
couch,
over. Season's
couch
over.
potato that it was.
Ruben. Day 8.
Without Formula One.
Without Formula 1.
Shoot me now.
Sitting in an empty pool like Pablo Escobar.
Wow, Yancy. Wow.
Yancy, how was your weekend?
That was good. Same thing, man. Couch potato. Caught up on... I actually saw The Witcher this weekend.
Oh, I got to get started on that.
Yeah,
I got to get started.
this weekend.
I'm a huge fan of the games.
You know, when winter comes around, we just watch Netflix, man. Especially
chill.
with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Guys, on that note, today's episode we'll be talking about some news. Mercedes' appeal of the decisions at Abu Dhabi and what happened. Mohammen Ben Sulayem elected as the FIA vice president or as FIA president, replacing Jean Todt. And then we'll be doing some season awards and breaking down what we thought about the constructors and their, I guess, the teams in general throughout the season and our thoughts for next season. So getting into it, the news. Mercedes chose to drop the Abu Dhabi appeal, meaning their appeal of what happened at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you guys recall, the safety car was dispatched after the Nicholas Latifi crash. Then literally all sorts of mayhem broke loose. Only 5 cars were allowed to unlap themselves, and that allowed for Max Verstappen to essentially win the race and win the championship. So Mercedes chose to not, according to what they said, they chose not to pursue the appeal because, one, they realized that the championship would not be overturned by the FIA. Beyond that, they figured and they knew from the FIA that the FIA itself would be launching an investigation. So those were the two kind of predominant reasons why they dropped the appeal.
An investigation unto itself.
Yeah.
Which...
How many crooks do you know investigate them? No, I'm
Wow.
crooks.
Wow.
and that is the point. It's not an independent investigation. It's the FIA investigating the FIA. You're not really going to get anywhere. And it's a lengthy process. And it's just not. And at the end of the day, you're still not going to get the result that you want, which is the race result overturned. So
Right. So what do we think, boys? Extremely consequential race, obviously the last race. And I think I mentioned this to Ruben. It's Max Verstappen over the course of the season deserved the championship as he was a terrific driver throughout the course of the season. But I don't know if he deserved to win the last race. I feel like that's kind of the sentiment that we need to really just think about and take with us. But what do we think about Mercedes just saying, okay, all right, we'll move on from here?
go ahead.
I think they were told to just fall back. We'll take care of this. It's not whatever you do, wherever you take this, it's not going to change the result. So hey, just fall back. Don't make F1 look worse than what they already looked because of what happened on the last, on the last lap or the last 2 laps or whatever you could say. So
Last 6 laps.
so we promised, they were told we promised you we're going to change all the procedures that happened to it. We're going to put all of this in paper and blah 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 blah. So that's it.
Yeah, I mean they weren't gonna get the result that they want.
Exactly.
And I think just looking at the response overall, online and in the media,
The backlash, you mean?
the backlash, yeah, the response is the backlash. It's just
Wait.
FIA looked really bad
Tell me about it.
during that race, and it's a shame because while we watched it, I think us three, we felt the same way. It was like it was a thrilling end, but why did it have to end this way? Like
Not
I'm
like this.
watching throughout the week. I'm watching the replay of that last lap, and I'm just imagining myself like if I didn't know anything about how the rules or man, that was exciting. How great is that a driver as good as Max has driven all season can overcome the odds, knowing that he was going to lose that race, and still on that last lap overtake the reigning world champion and become the champion. That was extremely exciting. And that would have been great if I felt that during that race as I watched it. But in the back of my head, and I would speak for us because I think we felt the same way because we've watched this season and we're pretty big fans of F1. Just knowing that could have been different because we know Lewis Hamilton dominated that race. We know Lewis Hamilton from Brazil on dominated F1. Won every single race up to that point. And for it to be tainted in that way, it sucks.
That's what
because
hurts.
not only does it take away the victory from Lewis Hamilton, but it also taints the victory of Max Verstappen.
Correct.
And over time, I think obviously that's going to go away because we don't remember those details in general, right? But right now it stings because this was one of the most exciting F1 seasons we've seen of all time. The fact that it came down to the last race, tied on points,
Crazy.
was insane. The atmosphere was great. The whole world was watching. But yeah, we still have that on the back of our heads. And again, it's like, look, we can go back to when Lewis Hamilton won his first championship in 2008. That title changed hands. It should have been Felipe Massa winning the title. But that title changed hands because it was just something that's out of our control. What happened in Abu Dhabi was something that was in the control of the FIA.
Mm-hmm.
Things were changed. We don't know
On the fly.
on the fly. We don't know the exact reason why. But the fact that the FIA is going to launch an investigation to it, so it doesn't happen again, and we have a bitter taste in our mouth because of it. It just sucks because it should have been a better ending to a great season that we had.
What's your thought on that one?
Whatever. I think it's the right move because they're going to be. Obviously, they're going to continue in the sport. It just kind of is what it is. Sometimes you get the balls and strikes called your way. Sometimes they're not called your way.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is with sports, and especially when there's rules open to interpretation. So
They did say in their statement, Mercedes said in their statement, that they will hold the FIA accountable. And I think that will happen through the process of obviously the internal investigation on how we can make it better.
right.
You best believe Mercedes is going to have a say in how things can be fixed.
I'll tell you this. I don't think Mercedes ever even thought about the race ending that way.
No,
Well,
but
no,
I
none
mean,
of
I
us
don't
did.
think any of us did.
Right.
But
I think everybody was thinking that there was going to be about maybe Max taking each other out, kind of thing
Max
like
and
that.
him taking. each
well,
other.
that's why they had what they call a barrister, which would be a lawyer.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like,
but it
they
was
got ready to
it was
follow that, not
because
this.
like somebody taking somebody out, but it wasn't this. But again, it's just why waste the time and the resources on something that's the outcome that Mercedes would want would be to strip Max Verstappen of the race win, which will essentially strip him of the championship,
Yeah.
which would make
F1.
Formula One look horrible.
Right. It would delegitimize the sport.
It would literally delegitimize the sport because you've crowned the world champion, you've celebrated him, you gave him the trophy already. To take that away,
Wrestling.
It would look like
it
wrestling.
would
That's
be
exactly what it would be.
a WWE type of thing, and that's exactly what you don't want, especially a sport which is a legitimate sport.
So to kind of further flex their muscle, they being Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, Toto Wolff, maybe not necessarily fully Mercedes themselves, but they decided to snub the FIA prize giving ceremony. So they didn't send their constructors winning the Formula One Constructors Championship car. They also didn't send their Formula E title winning car.
Mm-hmm.
Toto Wolff wasn't present. Lewis Hamilton, who was second in the drivers' championship and is technically required per the Formula One rules to be on site for the prize giving ceremony, was not there. What do you think of their statement, Ruben? What do you think of their statement? Do you think that they got their point across? Do you think that with, I'm going to say it this way, with their star power, that they can kind of pull that kind of move and get the effect that they want from not showing up at the prize giving?
I think, but then not showing up, obviously they made a super, I would say, super firm statement on how they felt at that point. Because I was remember the race was Sunday, the prize giveaway was like on a Thursday, so they're still super bitter about everything that happens. Obviously, being Toto Wolff, no, Mikey, no. So he was, so he was super hurt. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton, I don't know. I think so Lewis Hamilton just got like, the sport I love just did this to me. Like, how am I supposed to react? Obviously, he acted like a true champion at the actual race and stuff like that. But the aftermath, when you're sitting down, why would I go to Paris and celebrate? They just stole this from me.
Yeah, I got to tell you, watching that, it was his onboard footage where they went back, I guess, to his face, like after he was doing the cool down lap, and it was like just 2 minutes of silence. That,
yeah, when Wellington saying that in a text, I'm like, when saying, yo, watch this. I'm like looking for like, okay, what is being said? And I'm here like, okay, he's not going to say nothing. Okay, he doesn't say nothing. So what is Wellington's point?
No, because
I know, but the point
at
is
the
just,
end of the season,
like, what can you really say?
Such a hard-fought season. You're so dejected. You're so just caught up in emotion. For him to not say anything, it was really just kind of sitting there, just kind of composing himself, trying to figure out what to say, what not to say, how to get through this situation. Yeah, get through this podium celebration, which is the ultimate.
Yeah, imagine he wouldn't have
podium.
gone to one of that. Like, no podium.
You can't
No,
do that.
obviously, because now you're doing.
Max did at the race before.
Max
He didn't
walked
go to the
away.
podium?
He went to the podium.
He went to the podium, but he walked away.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think they are required, regardless of what happens, they have to go to the podium celebration and do interviews and all that stuff.
I agree, but
imagine just.
it's
no,
also
I'm not
very
thinking-
different going to the second to last podium where you still have a chance. You're tied going into the final race and walking away versus your season is done. You feel like you got robbed. You can't say anything because...
Have you ever watched a better soap opera than this year? Because remember,
Yeah, 2016.
a race ago, meaning in Jeddah, Max was super bitter. The beginning of Abu Dhabi, Max and Rebel was super bitter because of regulation, rules or things that were being called were not going their way.
Yeah.
The race ends, and now we're like an ultimate
Right,
high on
right,
happiness
right.
as a team.
I mean, you heard that right at lap 1. Oh, here we go again. Oh,
Exactly.
blah, blah, blah. Lewis Hamilton.
This
get
this
away with
beats
whatever
any
he
Mexican opera you could think about. Like super
Yeah.
dramatic and all that other stuff.
Here's the thing, looking at it from Lewis Hamilton's viewpoint. He's literally done everything he could to win. Not only win the race, but win the championship. Winning the last 3 races before that. Dominating this race. He dominated this race.
Yes.
Up 14 seconds on a very quick Red Bull and Max Verstappen, who's
Starting second, by the way.
yeah, I
He
mean,
started P2.
dominated the race. And not only to lose just the race, which is heartbreaking enough on that, which the FIA literally went out of line with every single protocol they have raced with the past, I don't know how many years. And then on top of that, to lose a championship on the last lap, that's extremely heartbreaking to even take. And for him to just handle himself, obviously, do an interview, go to the podium, congratulate Max. He handled himself with the class that we would expect Lewis Hamilton to handle himself with. He's never been a guy that has handled any adversity with a classless showing. It hasn't happened. He hasn't put a foot wrong. And yet still people hate him, which I just don't understand. It's tough, man. And I mean, he said it, on the last lap right after Max overtook him. He said this race has been manipulated. I mean, obviously that was said in the heat of the moment, but I think any of us would feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the fact that he didn't go to the prize giving, the fact that Toto Wolff backed him, which is what you want as a driver. You want your organization, your team to back you, especially the leader of that team to back you in that way. It's totally understandable. He might get a fine. Great. I mean, because yes, he's required to be there, but it's understandable because the FIA really messed this up.
You don't think Mercedes had any fault in that?
No.
No, because
I think they did.
how?
They should have developed the car. Like Red Bull did and win by a landslide.
Hold on. Wait. Let's get something straight here, because you said develop the car, which is very different. They started off on the back foot.
Yeah, no, from the get-go. They
On the
killed
back foot because of the rule changes,
the low rake.
right? The low rake versus the high rake. They caught
That's it.
up. Hold on. They caught up to Red Bull.
No, I'm saying the example perfect on that is Aston Martin. How far back they went just
because
of
they don't have the resources.
Exactly.
Guys, let's
But-
flip back in.
They caught up.
Not a long
Lewis Hamilton dominated the last 4 races and was en route to win. What are you talking about? They didn't deliver.
No, I'm
They
saying
didn't-
should
come
you
on.
blame Mercedes a little bit on that? But go ahead.
Nah, bro.
Okay. Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
Speaking of FIA, speaking of rules, speaking of presidents, Mohammen Ben Sulayem elected FIA president as Jean Todt
Did he say the
steps
name right?
down. Mohammed Ben Sulayem? Yes.
Yeah, okay.
He did. Come on. So Ben Sulayem is a
I wouldn't
14.
know.
Me either.
Wow.
We trust you, brother.
Ben Sulayem is a 14-time FIA Middle East Rally champion. He competed from 1983 to 2002 and has held a number of roles in the FIA. He will now fulfill a 4-year term at the head of Formula One's governing body. He was a member of the World Motorsport Council from 2008 to 2013, re-elected in 2017. He's the founder of the FIA ACT-AC region, which includes the Middle East and North African countries. He's the vice president for the Automobile Mobility and Tourism and member of the Innovation Fund Steering Committee. Pretty accomplished guy.
Very instrumental.
Obviously a
bringing the
racer.
Abu Dhabi Grand Prix into the calendar also.
Listen,
Yes.
this is why you have to educate yourself all the time. I thought this guy bought the position. So.
Oh my God.
Because I haven't read nothing.
Why would you think that?
Because I haven't read anything. So, the Middle East making a big investment all the time in F1. So.
We're going to put Ruben on timeout.
Chill, mute him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
lower the volume on his mic. No, come on. Yeah. All right, so
Thank you.
guys, any
I'll be here all
thoughts?
week.
Is
Yeah,
Jean
let me
Todt-
just bring a random person to run the FIA. Come on, Ruben. Seriously?
Hey, look at the last race.
The
Who
FIA
knows?
has a lot of problems, but not like that.
Look at the
bro.
last race. Who
Come
knows what the
on.
As
hell they're
long as
doing?
it's not Ruben himself, I think we're going to be good. Any thoughts on Ben Sulayem and Jean Todt stepping down? Obviously, Jean Todt has overseen what has been a really fantastic period. As granted, the FIA oversees much more than Formula One, but we're just talking about Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts going forward,
Well, all right.
or on Ben Sulayem, I should say?
The 63% of the budget for the FIA comes from F1. So obviously, Jean Todt is going to have a big say on what is going to happen to F1 and what the direction.
Is he
goes.
retiring or no?
No, he's filling out his term. I think he has 3 terms. I think you can't serve more than 3.
Oh, so he's not retiring. He's just
No, I mean, there's rumors that he might even go back to Ferrari, from what I've read.
okay.
Yeah. But we don't know exactly what he's doing. But he's just he's filling out his term. You get 4-year term. I think you only get 3 terms. So he's already filling out his term, and I think maybe for him is the right time to go, considering all the hoopla over F1. But he did oversee, obviously, the growth of F1 in the recent years after Liberty Media bought F1.
The takeover.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of most of the credit goes to Liberty Media in promoting F1, especially on social media. I think what Jean Todt will probably mostly be remembered of for FIA president, and it doesn't seem like a big deal now, but we're seeing that it is a bigger deal as the season goes on, is the introduction of the halo. We saw a lot of people were very much against it. He insisted on it. He introduced it to all of the categories, being F1, F2, F3. We see Formula E, which is an FIA championship also. And just introducing driver safety as far as prioritizing that. It's going to be a lot. Obviously, Jean Todt has a rich history in just F1 and motorsport in general, but overall, I think he did a pretty good job. And we'll see how. Is it how do you say Suleiman?
Ben Sulayem.
Ben Sulayem, how he does. He definitely has the credentials. He has a history of motorsport racing as far as WRC, and you probably going to focus a lot more on World Rally Cross WRC. But does he have he has the experience? He's served on the FIA board. We'll see what thumbprint he puts on it and how things go moving forward. I think his biggest challenge at the moment, as we saw it all come to a head at the last race, would be the rewriting the rules of just F1 in general, and see how teams interact with the FIA and how things going forward, how things are judged, because I think he has a lot of work to do with the stewards. He has a lot of work to do as far as how the rules are worded and that it's fair for everybody. And we'll see how he handles it. So
I think modernize and simplify it. That's what I have to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously,
good luck to him.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
And seeing that F1 is also as the years go by, they're gonna have a larger presence in the Middle East. He'll help with that transition.
And the relationship.
Because obviously you have Qatar, which is verified for the next 10 years. Abu Dhabi is a staple now in the F1 calendar. And Saudi Arabia, which will be there for the next 9 years now. Bahrain also. So it's a big region where F1 wants to grow. And obviously we want F1 to grow not only here in the Americas and in Europe. Obviously it's huge in Europe, but we want it to grow in other areas. But the Middle East is a big area where they want to grow as well. So he'll be instrumental in that.
Okay. So Ben Sulayem has already kind of flexing his muscles, right? So we talked earlier about how Hamilton and Toto Wolff had skipped the FIA prize giving. He said that there will be no forgiveness if Hamilton breached rules for skipping the FIA prize giving. Okay.
Has to do that.
Has to say something. Can't just let it go without saying anything as far as breaching the rules, but I don't think anything will come of it. He's also said that, as Yancey mentioned, his WRC routes, he said that 2.5 manufacturers aren't enough for WRC, which that would be nice to get some more manufacturers involved so that it's actually a competitive series. That would be good. But other than that, we'll see what his tenure brings. Any thoughts, Ruben?
Who are the manufacturer now?
It's Toyota and Audi, I believe.
Let's brag a little bit. So when we went to the Mercedes Museum, they've always been involved in every kind of. So Mercedes will not be a bad manufacturer going there too as well and dominate.
It depends on the budget.
Exactly. That's what it is.
Depends on the budget and what.
And what's coming.
Yeah.
What's coming, because remember, most of the auto manufacturers, they're going towards E. So.
Yeah, I mean, and then going back on what he said about, obviously he has to put his foot down, and I think part of the reason why, especially this season, and we saw this at the last race, part of the reason why the FIA has to put its foot down is that the reason why that debacle happened is because the teams were trying to lobby an FIA official
on the go.
Yeah, on how to run the races, and I think that you have to. Everything starts from the top. So you have to put your foot down and make sure that the inmates aren't running the asylum. So
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So along those lines of what we just talked about with 2.5 manufacturers in WRC not being enough, Audi tells the FIA it intends to confirm F1 entry early next year, according to racefans.net.
Just Audi or the Volkswagen group?
Audi.
Okay.
This is a very much welcome addition, and very much welcome, obviously a manufacturer that has a lot of legacy behind it. So right now we're at Mercedes, Renault, Ferrari, Honda, that's leaving, and then potentially Audi entering.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys think of somebody or a company and a manufacturer with the legacy of Audi joining the Formula One stable of potential engines?
I welcome it, one, because obviously you need more competition. Iron sharpens iron, as we say. Audi, or just in the Volkswagen group in general, but let's take Audi because it seems like within the Volkswagen group, you have Audi and Porsche, which are the two big dogs, and they are the ones that when Audi and Porsche enter into WEC, because that's really the benchmark as far as like top notch motorsport, like the highest level, they win. Porsche always wins. Audi always wins. So to have that knowledge and have that know-how, especially with the hybrid engines, which is big in with WEC, we welcome it because they won't be they will come in with a leg up. Like they have the knowledge. They need the time to develop it. Much like what Honda did. Obviously, they won the Drivers' Championship and they gave it a championship-winning engine. We know that when Honda enters a sport, they're in it to win it, even though it might take some time. I don't know if they're going to have a full works team, because it doesn't seem like it. It seems like they're going to be an engine manufacturer starting, and then maybe they'll develop into it. And the rumors are that maybe they will have a tie-in with Red Bull, meaning taking the IP from the Honda engine and having their know-how and merging that together. Would I want that? No. I want them to actually just have their own engine and just have another, have another manufacturer. Be it what? It's 3 now, well 4 now. Make it 5. And
Yeah, but
maybe Red Bull will be able to build their own powertrains, but I don't know if they have the know-how. Even though they're hiring some top-notch people. They have a lot of people from Mercedes, actually, from AMG coming into Red Bull
Right.
powertrains.
they were poaching a lot of. So I want to clarify. I apologize. I didn't say this, but the Audi rumors will coincide with the next engine change regulation. So that would be 2026.
So it wouldn't be the hybrid engine.
Correct. That would be 2026, and that is the key point. The MGUH would be dropping off. There would not be any MGUH. That is the most expensive, most complicated part of the engine.
Correct.
Which is what the Volkswagen Group has been lobbying for.
Correct.
Since the beginning, because it's the
You
most
want us,
expensive
we
and
want
it's
that out.
more complicated.
Meaning, you want us, that coming from us, take that out.
And for Ferrari and Mercedes were willing to let that go, even though they've put so much money in developing the MGUH.
Yeah.
But it was the MGUH is what gave Honda the most problems when they came into the sport.
GP2 engine.
Yeah. So if they get rid of that, then yeah, they'll definitely. I think they're gonna come in, but we don't know what role. We don't know if they're gonna do their own thing or they're gonna join with Red Bull and Red Bull powertrains and give them an engine. So
Any
we'll
thoughts,
see what
Ruben?
happens.
I believe it's for a reason they want that part out. Obviously, it's giving everybody so much problems. So by keeping that part out, they don't have to go down that road that everybody else already went. So
Well, I mean, think about it. It'll level the playing
And the price.
field in the sense that it'll level the playing field in that everybody else has experience right now with the MGUH. Everybody else obviously does ICEs. Everybody does like recovery systems now for their road cars, but the MGUH is something that not looking to mess with. So, with that said, I'd like to move on from the news. You guys ready? We would like to play.
We didn't get the
Not
buzzers,
even
by the way.
play, but a holiday season award game. So we've gone through the full 2021 season. It's been a thrill. It's been awesome. It's been amazing. Now we're coming up on the holidays themselves, and there's a number of holiday traditions that I would like to, with knowledge of Christmas, Hanukkah, etc., all the holidays, like there are traditions that I'd like to kind of pair with drivers, tracks, entities, etc. So I'd like to get through it. Guys, are you ready?
Nope.
So let's do the first one. Let's do the first one.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Da, 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 da. So the holiday award game. Let's call this one. This is actually one that Yancey came up with, but I took it and I ran with it. The Socks and Underwear Award. This is, I'm going to tell you guys, it's for a driver. A gift that doesn't seem special, but ends up being the MVP of your wardrobe. Carrying your goods to glory. So think about a driver that didn't really seem special for a long time. Ended up carrying their... Go ahead, Ruben. Yeah.
Carlos Sainz.
No. No, it is not Carlos Sainz.
By the way, we're going to preface that you already chose it.
I've already chosen who it is,
and you're going to give us some
and
clues.
I'm giving you clues so that you guys can try to figure it out.
I jumped the gun.
Guys could try and figure it out. And
the socks and underwear is obviously like you need them.
You need them.
You can't do without them.
Can't do without them.
But it's like when you get it, it's like yeah, like there's not much thought into this.
Right. So
but
Talk bad about him, Jens.
we need it.
So think about
Unless you go commando.
No. You're never gonna go commando. So think about a driver. Didn't really seem special for a long time. Didn't seem special.
Okay.
Right? But ended up carrying your wardrobe, carrying your team of your wardrobe
Did he break his back?
to glory. Socks and underwear, they don't really break their back, but
No.
you might be on the right track here.
Pierre Gasly.
Pierre Gasly is correct. The socks and underwear.
I was far off. I was going to say Bottas.
Oh, yeah.
No, the choice was Bottas.
So listen, Pierre Gasly.
That was a good one.
Yeah, Pierre Gasly scored 110 points out of AlphaTauri. Sorry, I'm trying to wait for it to load up. Out of AlphaTauri's 142.
Jeez.
So the MVP of the team.
Black. It's a lot of underwear.
A lot of underwear.
My man Gasly, the great Gasly.
Yes. Okay. So from there, the Cabbage Patch Kid Award. So I'm a little old, right? So I'm going to call it the Cabbage Patch Kid, Tamagotchi, Furby, and Hoverboard Award.
Furby.
Remember the hoverboard? Yeah, Furby. And remember the hoverboards?
Yeah.
They were the hot toy that everybody needed last year. So hyped as the new hotness. Everyone wants it, but your kid puts it down within a day or two because it kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. So this is actually a team.
Oh.
This is actually a team. So it was a team coming into the season as set up as the new hotness, but then all of a sudden, you know what? Let's. I don't want to play with you anymore. Like in Toy Story, I don't want to play with you anymore. Just drops it. Yes, you think you have an answer?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Aston Martin.
There we go. Aston Martin. Dude,
You got to give me some competition here, bro.
In 2020, right? They were the pink Mercedes.
Yep.
Yes.
The Pink Panthers.
They scored. I think they were fourth in the constructors, and
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah,
third.
because McLaren finished third that season.
so
So they were fourth.
they were killing it. They were
were
supposed to
fourth.
come into the year. Aston Martin money coming in.
They even lost
Lance
15
Stroll
points.
looking like Darth Vader,
Yeah.
right?
They signed Seb.
Signed Seb, Lance Stroll making the next step forward, and they sucked.
Thank you, FI.
The Cabbage Patch Kid, hyped, overhyped.
No, but honestly, even with the rule changes, the way that team had punched above their weight as Force India,
For
Right. Racing Point,
Yep.
Force India was punched above their weight. They had finished third or fourth in the Constructors' Championship. They were hyped. You know, they got the British Racing Green livery.
Yep.
My man,
What
My
is
man,
British Racing Green?
huh?
What is British Racing Green?
That's what they
It's
call
the
it.
traditional colors.
I know, but like what type of...
Is it green?
It's
from,
the
that's British.
Is it
that
the
they
Aston
use?
Martin, like the bright green?
no, not the bright green. It's the green that they actually sported. But you know, and then you know how you had Papa Stroll come through like, yes,
Like Darth Vader.
we're gonna win, and it's a dud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So-
it makes sense.
Next award. Let's see if you guys can get this one. It's another team, actually. The Charlie Brown Christmas Tree Award. This is the award for a team that looked sad at first. Right? So, you know, in the Charlie Brown Christmas special, they
Never
got
seen
the
it.
tree. They got the tree. The thing was freaking leaning over. It looked like crap, right?
The leaning tree of Pisa.
So it looked like crap. Once they decorated it, though, put the gifts under it, and they celebrated around it, they realized, you know what? It's not about the tree itself, but it's about what you can do with the tree, the improvements that you could have with the tree over the course of the holiday season, that all of a sudden make it fit within champions. What do you guys think would be, what team do you think would improve so much over the course of the holiday season, let's call it, that it would be worthy of the Christmas spirit? Any ideas?
Ferrari.
Ruben, there you go.
I couldn't let Yancy jump in again.
No,
and take
Yancy
my
was
answer.
actually, he stopped himself. I could tell that he stopped himself from saying anything to
I
allow you
wasn't
to.
gonna say Ferrari.
What were you going to say?
Alpine?
No, I would have said AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri? That would have been a good one, but
Because Ferrari looking sad. How could Ferrari look?
it looked sad, dude.
At the beginning of the year,
At the
yeah.
beginning of the year, it looked sad.
They still look better. All right. So the first race, they were much improved. They looked way better than they did last year. They didn't look sad. They just looked a bit improved. Actually, maybe Williams would have been a good answer too.
But that's not what I was thinking about.
Thank you.
Unfortunately,
I got the
I'm just offended because you said Ferrari.
I'm the Krampus of this.
at the beginning of the year that looks like. Yes.
We're gonna get to that. All right, team. So
But okay,
the Eggnog Award. This is actually a race.
here we go.
This is actually a race, and 2 answers are acceptable.
2 answers.
It's delicious.
I get one, you get one.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Especially watching it with a little bit of rum in it. But when you're done, you're left with a little bit of a stomach ache. And things don't, they didn't end up all that well. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is the recipient of the Eggnog Award as a race?
There's one that's obvious, and there's one that.
There's 2 answers. 2 answers that I'll accept.
Mercedes in Abu Dhabi.
No. Negative. Yeah, see?
It wouldn't be Abu Dhabi?
It would not be Abu Dhabi.
Spa would be one of them.
No. Negative.
What?
Because that race never really even took place. So think about it. You're hyped. Yo, eggnog. I'm setting it up. Pouring my little rum in it. It's going to be delicious. You're hyped. You're ready to go.
Saudi Arabia?
You're hyped. I was never hyped for Saudi Arabia, other than the fact that it was the last race. But you're hyped for this race.
Wasn't
Saudi Arabia was the last race?
Every year that I
Second to last race.
Okay, fine, whatever. Every year it comes around this race, I'm so hyped for it, and I take a swig, and all of a sudden, bubble guts.
Monaco?
No.
Wow.
What races are you excited for throughout the year?
Huh.
That this year, like at the end of it or midway through the race, it was just like, what the heck just happened?
Monza?
Monza is an acceptable answer. Yes, that's one of the 2 answers.
Really?
Can you get? Yeah, you weren't hyped for Monza?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Always, right?
But you're left with a stomachache? McLaren got 1-2. That's great.
Right. But what happened to the Drivers' Championship?
Oh.
What would be the other answer there then?
Silverstone?
Not Silverstone.
They collided there too?
Not Silverstone. But there's another race that typically every year it's ridiculous.
Okay, hold on. All right, so
There you go. Ruben said Baku. So Baku, you go into that race crazy every year.
It's me.
Crazy
Got one.
every year.
I got both answers in that question.
Yeah,
It
he
was
got
kinda-
Monza
yeah,
and Baku.
Yeah, but
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Verstappen crashed out.
He didn't
Okay.
crash out.
Well, I mean, he blew his
The tires gave out.
did crash.
So it's an unexpected, like, oh my God,
Yeah, part of the stomachache.
I got to go to the bathroom.
So we're saying, okay, Baku.
Baku and Monza. You're excited for those 2 races every year. You're expecting for them to deliver. This year, they should have delivered even more so because of the fight up front.
But Monza delivered. We got a Daniel Ricciardo win. The only 1-2 in the season.
It tasted great.
Only 1-2 in the season.
It
listen to it,
tasted
listen to it.
great.
Not even Mercedes got a 1-2 this season.
Tasted great. But
McLaren,
all of a sudden, at the end of
how is that a stomachache? That feels good.
all of a sudden,
Damn, you just
Championship contenders collide.
shitting on
You can't-
McLaren.
no, not on McLaren, but on what happened in the Drivers' Championship.
Okay. Okay.
So that was the Eggnog Award. So here's the next one. The Elf on the Shelf Award.
What's that?
This is a curveball I'm throwing to you guys. So it was fun at first. Exciting for the kids, but ultimately it gets boring and really annoying as the season goes on and actually ends up falling off.
This is a race also?
This is
The Grand
a
Prix?
team. This is a team. So listen to this. It's fun at first and exciting for the kids. Ultimately gets boring and really annoying as the season goes on. And yeah.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to finish and jump.
Yeah. McLaren. What?
I was gonna, to mess around. Do they have a P1? Do they have a Senna?
We're in competition.
Dude, we
bro.
started here.
You don't let somebody pass you by and then pass them.
I left it open. I left the door open.
We started here really excited. A driver who doesn't go for the gap. No, I'm kidding.
Yep.
So we started with Lando Norris just killing it, right?
Yeah,
Killing it all season. Daniel Ricciardo, granted, he needed to get warm up. We thought that this was going to happen. All we got from Daniel Ricciardo was a lot of maybes. What we got from Lando Norris is after, what was it, Turkey with the rain, just completely fell off the map.
No,
Sochi.
Russia.
Russia.
Dude, that was a killer race.
So I'm going to read it again. Fun at first, exciting for the kids, Lando Norris, right? But ultimately it got boring and really annoying as the season go on. That it got really annoying because they just could not get it together.
Remember, I asked you guys the other day, where's Zach Brown? Have we seen him?
We haven't
They're
seen
doing
him.
horrible, so they're not getting any TV exposure. That's why
So
you don't
that's
see him.
the elf on the shelf.
Ferrari
That's-
put them away.
Yeah.
Put him away.
Just
On a stick.
the closer, like Mariano Rivera. So
Baby.
Not Charlie, though.
here's my last award. This one should be pretty easy. The Grinch Award.
What did you want?
Hates Christmas.
What is it that you wanted to call this at first?
The Krampus Award.
Who?
The Krampus is the demon that goes around with Saint Nicholas in Europe. He takes the gifts from the kids. He like hits them with the.
I'm
thing.
still trying to translate
For the
the
back.
Eggnog Award.
Anyway.
So the Krampus Award would have been what?
Anyway, so the Grinch Award.
Grinch.
Hates Christmas, hates Whoville, hates the Who's, hates gifts, hates anyone having a good time. It's an entity.
Driver.
It's an entity.
Oh. FIA.
Yes. They hate us. They hate us because they
It's
hate
either
us.
the FIA or the NFL, bro.
No fun league. Guys, thank you for playing my game.
This was fun.
The Grinch. We all.
This was fun. The eggnog award got me though.
The Eggnog Award. I drank it, but then all of a sudden,
Mine was
listen,
great.
I was thinking about like the Eggnog Award. Why would you translate to Spanish? Like, how do you?
El Coquito.
El Coquito.
El
Yeah, but
Coquito.
I'm thinking like.
You drink it and you're having a good time, but
and
then
you're
all
like,
of a sudden,
"Yay!" Like, wait a minute.
wait.
It's not the pernil.
All right, so thank you guys for that. Thank
That
you
was
for,
awesome, by the
for
way.
indulging me. Overall team season rundowns. I just kind of wanted to go through real quick before we wrap up for the year. I just kind of wanted to talk about each team, what we thought of them for the season, and then later on we'll talk about best driver, best team, etc. But we know what there's awards for that. But excuse me, Mercedes. Excuse me. Overall team season rundown, Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't start off on a great foot. But then what ended up happening with them is they got their act together in the sense that their engine trial and tribulations with their reliability through Bottas's engine, their power through Bottas's engine, all of a sudden they ended up figuring it out.
What is
What did we think of the Mercedes season overall?
What is Hamilton tattoo says? What I shall rise. What shall rise? On?
We still rise.
Yeah,
We
there you
still
go.
rise.
That's what Mercedes did this year. You hand us this,
Still I rise.
still I rise. So you gave this team this major blow when it came to change the regulation at the beginning of the year, and they still rose to the challenge. They took the constructor.
Never underestimate the heart of a champion.
Also, then
Mercedes didn't have the best car this year. I think we could all agree on that. Overall, as a season,
Because of regulations.
okay, but they didn't have the best car. The best car overall, I think, the season was the Red Bull. For them to, obviously, they were on the back foot with the regulations because it was targeted towards them. For them to not only take those regulations, adapt their car without spending a token, because every other team spent the token.
can I take the train with that token? Can I take the train with that token?
No.
No. Okay.
Tokens haven't existed in a while, bro.
My bad.
You might be able to take it with a Metro card. But for them to come back and win the Constructors' Championship, speaks volumes for that team. Mercedes did a great job this season, considering that they started off on the back foot. They were the underdogs most of the season and ended up with the best car at the end of the season. Kudos to them. They deserve that Constructors' Championship, and I think they should have gotten the Drivers' Championship. But it shows you that, like, again, we've said this time and time again, or I've said this time and time again. If you come for the king, you best not miss. And
they did not miss.
They
on the drivers they didn't.
They almost did.
Yeah,
they almost did. Good for Red Bull, but Mercedes, if it wasn't for that, for that call, by the stewards, they would have both championships again.
I think that for next year, it's going to be a lot of. I think that Total Wolff is going to be out for blood next year, and now they're going to have
without both. That's one.
They're going to have a killer.
Well, they're going to have a crazy drivers lineup with Lewis Hamilton
and
George Russell. If
killer lineup,
Hamilton doesn't retire.
Come on, we didn't talk about that, but Total Wolff.
There's been so much speculation, but I
don't know if he's going to come back. I
don't know. They've been holding on to the comment, to basically the only interview he did after the race, right afterwards, right after they got out of the car, where it said we'll see about next year. I don't think there's much to hang on there about. And obviously he should feel aggrieved by what happened, but he still feels good. He's at the peak of his powers. Still in the best car on the grid, best engine on the grid. Why wouldn't you take it to Max Verstappen?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't this rivalry go up in the lore of a Senna Prost or Schumacher and Hakkinen or Schumacher and Alonso? It needs to happen again.
Yeah, it needs
to happen again for the simple reason it's like a heavyweight fight. It's like what we had with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. We don't know who's the best, but eventually Tyson Fury came out. This is the first round, and Max Verstappen barely beat him.
Yeah,
and
Rocky.
A lot of people still think that Hamilton is the better driver, and now he needs to win a championship with Max Verstappen challenging him, so he can cement his legacy. Win the 8th World Championship and say, yes, I'm the GOAT.
Listen, this is going to be the revenge tour.
Yes.
Dude.
Can't wait.
Dude. Wait. Valtteri Bottas leaving.
Okay.
Issue? No.
No, because you have George Russell, who's proven himself to be
worthy,
at least worthy of that seat, just as good as good of a driver as Bottas. Yeah, he has a lot to learn, but I think his talent will overcome.
Does he?
Huh?
Does he have a lot to learn?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
So Bahrain didn't prove anything?
No.
Bahrain 2 years ago?
No, last year.
Yeah.
Sakir,
2 seasons ago, yeah.
No.
It's been 2 seasons.
Yeah.
No, because we've seen it with Yuki Tsunoda. You can be good in 2 races and suck the rest of the season.
Yeah, suck the rest of the season.
Well,
Okay.
what I'm saying is
he did good in Abu Dhabi.
Is that it's one thing to be good in one race. It's another thing to be good the entire season. Yes, he's done it for Williams, but can he do it for a top team?
He will.
Okay, but
don't hate.
He has to prove it.
Don't hate, Jens.
He has to prove it.
Okay. Red Bull. Obviously, World Drivers' Championship season. Second in the Constructors. Max, I don't know if there's much more to say. Yes, I saw you had a graphic loaded up. I don't know if you want to take it away. Just an unbelievable season for Max.
10 wins, 10 poles, 18 podiums, 6 fastest laps, 652 laps led, and 395.5 points. All first in F1. When you have a driver of the caliber of Max Verstappen, who has not only match but beat Lewis Hamilton, barely beat Lewis Hamilton, but matched and beat him. And you have Adrian Newey as your car designer, with a team as we've seen Red Bull be phenomenal as a team this entire season. They've won a championship. They've won a championship this year, and they won a championship before. So they know how to win. They're nothing to scoff at, bro. They're going to bring the challenge now, especially with the wind in the back. So this will be another championship fought between Mercedes and Red Bull. It's going to be great to see. Hopefully it's as thrilling and exciting as this year. And we won't get a BS ending like we did this year. But I'm looking forward to them fighting again. And F1 needs this.
The only thing that sucked was the last race at the end of the year. The whole year was deserving for Red Bull.
But that's not Red Bull's fault. Like,
Doesn't matter, but it doesn't change the result.
no, yeah, it doesn't change the result. But like, it's not Red Bull's fault, and they came out victorious. So,
Yes.
Even though, for example, if you look at the last few races of the season, they did tail off at the end.
Yes.
They had a big of enough momentum coming into those last few races that they finally held on, but they barely held on because they wound up losing the Constructors' Championship and they barely won the Drivers' Championship.
And then the FIA helped them out.
Now, kudos to them because they were the only team in this hybrid era to actually give Mercedes an actual challenge.
Without cheating.
Okay.
okay. It's just troll mode
Yeah,
today. I
now
guess.
you're on troll mode today. But they need to step up their game because they need to keep that up for the entire
Yeah,
season.
back it up.
They didn't do that in the last quarter of the season. Not 3/3 of the season. Last quarter.
What do we expect from Sergio Perez next year, who at times came on strong this year, had the amazing defense in Abu Dhabi against Lewis Hamilton, defended like a lion, just couldn't really qualify. I don't know if that was like the team thing, couldn't really qualify at a good place, but what do we expect from him next year as he got more and more comfortable in the car going forward? But now he's going to have the challenge from George Russell in the Mercedes as the number 2 driver.
This
I
is
think he'll do better, though. I think he'll do better because, like, once they started doing the car to him, not following Max Verstappen, was when we saw the big change.
Mhm.
So we have yet to see, I would say, the full outcome of that. And in the last few races, the way he was driving, he was there. So maybe he will probably won't challenge Max to that level, but he'll be there. He'll be better than this year.
I think Red Bull will be stronger next season because
As a team.
Well, as a team in total, Red Bull meaning they'll be stronger as a team because Sergio Perez will be now up to date. He knows that car. He knows the characteristics of it. He'll be part of the development. Now, as we said this season, the Constructors' Championship really came down in a battle between Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. Obviously, Sergio finished off with a stronger year at the end, but Bottas was more consistent because he knew the car. And it was very close either way. But that's the reason why Red Bull will be strong. Now, you have a whole different, you throw in a whole different variable with George Russell going up against Mercedes, obviously in the battle with Mercedes and Red Bull. And we all think that George Russell is going to put up more of a challenge than obviously Bottas did to
Lewis, yeah.
Perez and to Lewis. I think, and I can speak for all of you. We think that George Russell will eventually win a world championship. He has that kind of talent.
Yeah.
Given the right machinery. So
And keeping his emotions in check.
yeah, it'll be interesting to not only see Lewis Hamilton go up against Max Verstappen, but it'll be interesting to see George Russell go up against Max Verstappen. And yeah, with me saying that, yeah, I think George Russell is quicker than Sergio Perez.
So I want to point out one thing, right? There was an 8-point difference between Max and Lewis. What do you guys think was the difference between point-wise between between Bottas and Sergio Perez? You guys, you said that it was closer towards the end, right?
Yeah, I don't know the point difference. I know that
but that's
Bottas
my
finished
point.
third, right?
Yeah, but that's my point. No pun intended, right? Points. It was 36 points between Bottas, who finished third,
And
Perez, who finished 4th.
Mhm.
So it actually was wider than what I initially thought it would be. But Perez did well. He needs to step it up a notch.
Yeah, I think it
Russell
was
is
just
not going to be
it was stronger towards the latter half of the season. Towards the beginning, obviously he lost a lot of ground because he struggled.
right. So Ferrari, we out of the two drivers, we had Carlos Sainz
2022 world champion.
finish ahead. 2021 Ferrari champion, right? Finish ahead of Charles Leclerc, the incumbent.
Mhm.
What do we think of this team going forward? Do we consider it a dark horse for next year?
Possibly.
Is their engine going to be strong enough?
Well, we saw how much better that engine got once they changed their hybrid.
Was it good enough to challenge the Red Bull and the Mercedes?
No,
No,
obviously
it's not there yet.
Yeah,
But that
obviously it's
chassis and that aero was top notch, right?
Yeah, and it depends how right they get the new regulations. I think at this point, the hybrid engine, there should be a confluence. Everybody should be similar horsepower, or the aero rules. It's what's going to dictate, the top tier midfield and the bottom field of the grid. If they get it right, which all indications point to, yeah, they'll get it right because they have an engine that can compete. Obviously, they need a few more horsepower, but they're able to develop that. But they've also shown a prowess to develop aerodynamically.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done that throughout the past few seasons, coming up with the design of the air intake, or bringing up the air intake up, which most teams copied that. This was in 2017. They've been able to take risks aerodynamically, and it working for them. Obviously, it didn't work for them in 2020, but I think in 2020 it was they were depending on an engine that was quicker, so their aerodynamic didn't work. So they were able to adjust it, and we saw how much they improved this season. They have the resources, they have the know-how,
Yeah.
they have the championship medal. Yeah, dark horse would be a fair bet. They would be one of those. They would be probably the top candidate to enter a quote unquote top 3, as far as.
Well, they're there right now.
Yeah, well, they're there now, but as far as like
Taking
taking it
next
up to
step.
the level where they're running with the leaders, they would probably be the best bet.
Ruben, who do you think? Charles Leclerc or Carlos Sainz wins next year for Ferrari? Who finishes ahead in the Drivers' Championship standings?
No, it's definitely be Charles next year. I mean, I would love.
Definitely?
Yeah.
Why definitely?
I don't think Charles is sleeping anytime. He's going to be practicing. He's going to be putting the work. He's going to be, he's the number one.
So he beat Sebastian Vettel.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't beat Carlos Sainz, but he's definitely beating him next year.
Next year, yeah. He's not going to. It's not going to. He's not going to go.
I feel like there's no reasoning there. It's
I would
just
love
like,
for Man Chile to keep up. To go again, to do what he did this year, show up early.
But why? Is
No.
it because he's more talented?
I don't think they're more talented than each other. Like they do have their own, what's it, their weird, areas where they outweigh each other or whatever, But obviously, because Charles has already been there, that's why I say
Been where?
meaning at the top, beating his team,
Has race wins.
podiums, blah blah blah. More obviously the Carlos Sainz. So that's the reason why I say Charles will definitely beat him next year because the car is there now, and the car is what's gonna keep elevating them to be. If they're able to keep up with this nice culture that they have between the two, I see Charles overtaking him.
Yes.
So let me
some information
I have
pulled up.
some
Here we go.
Okay. So we're talking about Charles Leclerc versus Carlos Sainz.
Yep.
Race as far as finishing ahead. 14-8, Charles Leclerc.
Race.
Qualifying.
Okay.
13-9, Charles Leclerc. Points, obviously Carlos Sainz finished ahead of him, 164.5 to 159. Best race finish, both of them finished second place as far as their best race finish. Highest grid position, Charlie got pole position I think twice.
Mm-hmm.
So one.
Granted, he crashed out in Monaco, so he was just cheating. Yeah, that's how he got it.
He was cheating?
He crashed
On purpose, so it would
on
be
purpose,
like
so nobody could pass him.
What the hell kind of conspiracy theory is this?
Tinfoil hat.
Jesus. Carlos second, highest grid position as far as starting the race, and Leclerc got 2 DNFs. Carlos Sainz got 0. Now, this is not to discount Carlos Sainz.
consistency this year.
Carlos Sainz is very consistent, and because of his consistency, he finished ahead of Charles Leclerc, his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlos Sainz, every team that he's gone to, has improved. Every year he has improved.
Yes.
Going forward, and he's led each of his team. So you can fairly say that Carlos Sainz is competing for team leadership as far as Ferrari is concerned. They're right there. Now,
did he beat Hockenberg? He did not beat Hockenberg.
No, but he came in.
he came in at the middle of the season.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I would agree with you that Leclerc will finish ahead of Carlos Sainz next year. Will it be close? Yes.
Of course.
But the only reason is that as far as pure pace, Leclerc is just quick. Now, can Sainz improve? Absolutely, because he's improved every single year. You sent us a Reddit post where his father was frustrated because they say that Carlos Sainz is not quick enough, but he's more consistent. He works harder. And yes, he
doesn't have
does
the
work.
talent.
Oh, he doesn't have the talent. That's not true either, because you can be born with talent and you can develop that. Some people are, I wouldn't say late bloomers, but they just get better and better as they perfect their craft. That's how most people do it. Not everybody has this quote unquote natural talent like a Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc, which many people, or even a George Russell
Or me.
or a Wellington Moreau or whatever.
Thank you, guys.
But as of now, Leclerc is still the quicker driver. Leclerc has still beaten, not as far as points, but in race and qualifying, has still beaten Carlos Sainz. So
Okay.
it is what it is, man.
Okay.
Numbers
McLaren.
don't lie.
Lando Norris, man, what a drop off from after Sochi. Got in his head. Couldn't figure it out as far as his racecraft. Just
Got a lot of bad luck, too.
bad luck,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he was a guy that did not finish outside the top 5 for like a lot of the season. Daniel Ricciardo just really could not figure it out. Mr. Up and Down, Mr. Inconsistent.
Yeah.
He should have got the Eggnog Award, to be honest. What do we see next year? Not just with the drivers themselves, but really with McLaren as a franchise. And I'm going to ask you to keep it quick or brief. Ruben, anything?
Just so they could keep the same pattern that they've been having for the last couple of years. Keep stepping up, keep coming up more and more and more. This year, obviously, they didn't show that as much, but where they're coming from 2015 to now, hey, we're doing better.
Yeah, they're legitimate contenders for that third place. Obviously, they need to keep the consistency up. Obviously, consistency is the key. They fell off hard, and I think maybe it was because they didn't develop the car like Ferrari did over the season. And obviously, with the new rule changes, that skews a lot of the things. So we'll see how they come out. I think the key for McLaren, one is Lando needs to keep getting better, which he has. But also, Ricardo, obviously, this season what he said he had to dissect to figure out why he was quick. Meaning, what's the reason that he was so quick in a Red Bull or in a Renault? Now in McLaren. He had to really dissect himself. And if he figures that out, which I think he will because he is a great driver, if you have him on par with Lando Norris and that team is working around them to improve that car, they're going to be a force to reckon with. And McLaren is not a slouch. They are one of the winningest teams in F1 history. They have the resources. They definitely have the backing now as far as money is concerned. They're going to be up there in that fight as well.
And remember also, they had a new engine this year.
Yeah.
So that also could have hindered him a lot.
That's a very nice engine, very powerful engine. Any chance that they jump into the top two?
Ooh.
McLaren?
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
I don't think
That's a big jump.
They're
You think so? What would hold them back?
their aerodynamics.
For a long time, that's all they had, their aerodynamics and their chassis.
That's what they thought.
Okay.
They took away the Honda engine, and it was a dud.
GP2 engine.
Yeah, so I mean, they were blaming it on the engine, and it was really their aerodynamics. And once they started fixing that, obviously they got better. But you're also competing against other teams. You're competing against the king of aerodynamics, which is Red Bull. Obviously, Mercedes is a championship team, and you've seen the capabilities of Ferrari in improving their aerodynamics.
The jump they made.
You know, can they be in the top two? Yeah, if nobody else is competing with them.
Alpine, El Plan.
El Plan.
El Plan.
Damn, that team is a toss-up.
That team is a toss-up. I agree.
It's a toss-up.
Throughout the whole season, they've just been a toss-up from race to race, from week to week.
They
driver
came on
to
strong
driver.
at the end, but it's just like I don't know where they're going, and their engine is.
They do have the hopes for next year, though.
I mean, they have the
El Plan.
they have the fourth best, which is only 4 engines on the. So
Well, when they add Audi, if they're fourth best.
yeah. The fourth best team, the fourth best engine, which is only 4 of them. So that means that they're
Is
dead
that similar
last.
to 3/3?
3/3. Yeah.
I meant to do that. You didn't.
So we'll see how long Fernando Alonso holds on, right? We'll see what Esteban Ocon can do, but at the end of the day, I feel Esteban Ocon is just a guy.
Their driver lineup is they're probably their biggest strength.
Really? I think Ocon is just a guy, like I said.
But Alonso comes like as a 1.5 driver almost. So the other half is Ocon.
Okay, but take
Ocon got a podium, and he had 2 podiums,
Okay.
1 race.
And race-
All right, so let me ask you a question, right? Take Ocon out. Valtteri Bottas, does he do better in that car?
No,
No? Ocon does better?
I think so.
Take Ocon out. Does Pierre Gasly do better in that car?
Yeah.
Okay. Take
Big
Ocon
guy.
out. Does Mick Schumacher do better?
No.
Take Ocon out.
Mick Schumacher hasn't proven anything yet. Yeah, he's quicker than Nikita Mazepin in a slow-ass car, but
Take Ocon out. Does Carlos Sainz do better in that car?
yeah, for sure.
So he's run of the mill. He's in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's still a solid driver.
He's still a solid driver. He's above
He
the
gave Perez a run for the money.
in a different car.
I'll tell you what, he can keep up with Fernando Alonso, which not many people have been able to do with his experience.
Mhm.
And we've seen how Fernando Alonso has just destroyed his teammates.
Mhm.
Okay?
Van Dorn. Yeah.
On a GP2 engine.
on a GP2 engine.
Yeah, but Van Dorn is not the only one. I mean, in Ferrari, he destroyed his team.
Okay, but that's like ancient history.
Well, but it's still relevant. I mean, it's
Okay.
Fernando Alonso, two-time world champion.
Remember Baku?
The reason why they call it El Plan is because he made the El Plan.
Alpha Tauri. No.
I don't see them getting any better than sixth place.
So I'm gonna give you some.
They showed the pace that they could be better.
They showed the
But they
pace
did
that
not
dude,
execute.
They came into the season hot, like coming in hot.
And
So
they showed a lot of little pictures of that throughout the whole year.
They
So,
didn't. I'm sorry. They didn't execute at the beginning of the season, and Yuki Tsunoda was obviously being a rookie.
So, after making Q3 just 3 times in the first 15 races, Yuki Tsunoda finished the season by making Q3 in 6 of the last 7 races.
Exactly. He's being a rookie. He got better as a year.
Yeah, much better. So, the thing about Yuki Tsunoda coming into the season is that he was a guy that could really develop over the course of the year. And I think that that's what we saw. He just ended up having bad luck during the races.
But he also has to do, and he needs to develop his racecraft a lot better too, because
I think the team in general.
yeah, he had good qualifying performances, but it didn't translate in the race.
So I'm glad you said that because that also goes for Pierre Gasly. And not even Gasly's fault. I think it's just the team in general on race day needs to do better.
But
They just need to sharpen
back-
it.
no, you're
his
right,
back
and
hurts.
I think that's. I think we would agree. I think we said that during the beginning of the season. The team has let Gasly down.
Yeah.
As far as decisions they've made on and off the track, tire changes, strategy, etc.
They need to sharpen up.
They need to sharpen up, but obviously you would expect that from an inexperienced team who's not used to even
I expect
fighting.
it to be on the
Pierre,
They're not-
they
yeah.
have socks and underwear. They just need the rest.
Yeah.
Right? Gasly won the award.
There you go. Yeah, and Yuki got better, but he needs to chill out a little bit, and I think he got his confidence back, as he said. So he'll be better. I think the team has to improve. I think they have so many areas. They have such a quick car, but they just got to put it all together around it.
I don't think they'll have
'Cause-
as quick a car next year as the
No,
regulations
not at all.
will not advantage them like they did this year.
Not at all.
So
Not at all. But,
Aston Martin.
but again, not having a quick car is enough. You have to be able to put it all together.
Aston Martin
They need to.
hype award. They need to
Hypo.
step it up quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Not really much more to say.
Well, there was a speech that Lawrence Stroll
Yes, I like that.
Here we go.
gave at the.
That was
you know,
cool.
Yeah, he said, I am going to give you
The resources. Right?
all the resources, all the tools that you need to be a better team.
That's what I want to hear.
So I mean, he's like what a total wolf when he came into Mercedes is right now. It's just, dude, I'm gonna give you everything that you need. Let's make this happen. So I don't know how long it's gonna take them to improve, but they are building a
Monster.
monster campus, massive
Yeah.
factory where they don't have to,
If they don't
travel
do it,
that far to consult with the rest of the team. So that's gonna be a big plus.
once the facility is finished, if they don't
Yeah, I mean,
get to the top, it's a
when they're
massive
investing that kind of money and you have
for a reason.
a guy like Lawrence Stroll who has been successful in any business venture that he does, and we've seen business guys come into F1 and be successful. Falawi Biatori with Benetton and Renault. That's one example. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take them to get to the top, but eventually
They'll get there.
They'll get there.
Williams, their season. George Russell, Mr. Saturday, kind of fell off at the end of the year. Scored some points, got them to the promised
Fell
land.
off once he signed his Mercedes contract.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
Not much more to talk about here, right?
No, listen, good on them. They finished 8th.
I think the car's improving quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once they got some money under the belt,
Yeah.
then
They have an experienced team.
yes.
Obviously, we know how much money can affect how good a race team you can be. Once they got taken over by Doralton, they're making the right investments. They're bringing in the right. They're bringing in the right people. Maybe they'll finish a position higher. I don't see them fighting for podiums or anything like that. But slowly but surely, they'll get up there too, and that's what we want.
Alfa Romeo. Rest in peace. Not rest in peace. That sounds
Good riddance.
No, not good riddance. My boy Antonio Giovinazzi, and then
The
also this other guy,
bullet.
this other guy, Kimi Raikkonen. He's gone too.
Are
They
you
just
gonna
didn't get it.
discredit Kimi,
there
man?
was
Why would you throw it like that to our boy Kimi? Why?
what?
Why? Just leave him alone.
They left him alone. So there were weekends where they looked fast and then just screwed it up. I think it's the same situation as AlphaTauri. They left a lot of points on the board. I don't know.
That's it.
That's kind of really it, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that car wasn't that quick, anyways.
Not even the Ferrari engine.
And then
held them up.
Haas.
They got worse this season than like the season before.
Haas.
Haas is,
I was gonna give them the Cabbage Patch Kid for the hype, and then that only gets used for like a couple of days, based on
You think they got
Mazepin,
hype?
based on Mazepin's chassis. Only used it a couple of days
Buying a new car.
at the end of the season. Come on,
The daddy bought him.
his dad bought him a new chassis that was only used.
So
for
maybe they would have won it for the last 3 races.
Nah,
Of the season.
Mick Schumacher. According to Sebastian Vettel, he was the first one in the morning and the last one to leave. Put in the work. Better luck next year, Mick Schumacher.
Mick Schumacher is a quote unquote late bloomer. Mick Schumacher is a driver that has gone into every category, and he's obviously learned the ropes his first season and then winds up winning a championship the season afterwards.
Sounds like me.
Did that in F3, did that in F2. Obviously, he's not going to win a championship next year, but we'll see how much he improves next season. Just be on the lookout for him. He's a driver that obviously has a talent, has the know-how, obviously has a pedigree. He's not one of these drivers that are just gonna like blow it out the water once you see him, but he does improve to the point where he wins championships. He's an F3 champion, F2 champion. He's in F1, deserves to be there. He's obviously quicker than his teammate. We'll see how he comes along next season.
Any thoughts, Ruben? No.
It's Haas, dude.
All right. So, guys, any closing thoughts on the whole year on our podcast? We're wrapping up. This is our wrap up of season 2 for us. We'll be joining you guys again in March, right before the next season starts. Any thoughts, guys?
This was supposed to be a throwaway season.
Yo, you're 100% right. What a season we got.
And this has been one of the greatest seasons in F1 history.
From drama to...
Yeah, I mean...
That is true.
This was supposed to be one of those seasons where it was like, yeah, we know we have the rule changes coming up next season, and we're waiting for that so we can see a little bit more competition. Little did we know that we got not only a battle at the top, a true battle at the top going to the end of the season with Mercedes and Red Bull. We got a great battle between Ferrari and McLaren, which kind of died off at the end of the season for third.
Same with AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri, Alpine for fifth. We got a battle up and down the grid, not only for the Constructors' Championship, but for the Drivers' Championship as well. It was an amazing season. The only thing missing was that botched ending at the end of the season, but overall, it was exciting to watch, and it was fun, and I can't wait for next season.
What a year it has been. Any closing thoughts, Ruben?
We need more years like this past season, and can't wait for next year.
Yeah.
Guys, next year, make sure to follow us at Jump to Start F1 on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us on podcast platforms. Subscribe, drop reviews, whatever you can. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Spotify. We're also on YouTube. Jump to Start Racing Podcast. Please drop by, hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell, etc. Drop a comment. Love you guys. And on that note, we will see you next year.
Thank you guys. Peace.
Thanks.